Got a lot going on. Just want to see if anybody coming through. I won't hold y'all for long. I'll stay on here for about an hour and a half. Just see if anybody's coming through. See how people feeling. See what they got to say. Um, See what we working with. You know. See what's up. See what we working with. See what we talking about. See what we got going on. Let's see. See what we working with. See if anybody come through. What's happening? How you doing? I heard you the first time. I'm right here, right here, right here. Don't come across like a troll. Tell me about yourself where you is. Okay, are you trolling? If you trolling, I gotta get you out. Okay, that's good. Where you from? Where you coming from? Let me know. Okay. All right now. That was short and simple. Okay. What's happening? How you doing? How you holding up? How you holding up? Yeah, I know it's a tough day. It's a lot of emotions and everything. It's always tough that first one. All right, how you doing? What's up, Riz? Just thoughts and prayers with you on the real. It's always that first year, 6 months first year is always the toughest. Not saying that you don't mourn beyond this, because you can entitled to mourn forever and a day. You know, I've had that myself. I lost my grandfather back in the 80s, but I still think about him. So I never tell nobody there's never a time limit not to mourn. There's never a time limit when you don't remember people that meant something to you and how they made you feel. So by all means, thoughts and prayers are always with you. So anytime you need to, talk about it, feel free. Because I don't just use this form to just talk about one thing. We do real talk, real soul. So, you know, just putting it there. So thought I'd let that be known. Anytime. Yeah. Yeah, it means something. I mean, you have a special soul that can understand you, that is compassionate, and that you just identify with. It's tough. It's tough. It really is. It's like my two grandmothers were like my mothers, and they raised me pretty much, and so I know what that's like. It's hard for me to even acknowledge the day because I know what souls did for me. And when you've had that kind of experience, you sure as heck ain't gonna take nobody sugarcoating or saying off the wall stuff about stuff. You know what you went through. So, you know. And like I said before, it's real. And the sad part is like all the best people who really understand you are on the other side most of the time. Not all, but most of, you know. Voices of reasoning, I like to say. Voices of reasoning. Yeah, sorry to hear that too. My situation was a little bit different because mine was more of estrangement. So my parents broke up and didn't get taken care of by him, since I was a little boy. So just went my own way. So I feel for you in that you actually had them in your house and that you had them because yeah, that's a tough thing, y'all. It's a tough thing. But you didn't definitely built yourself a strong mind and what you are as a man. So it's to be respected and commemorated because it ain't easy. When we lose people and we don't get a chance to hear what they got to say or think, it's real. So yeah, you've been through the ringers. Yeah, yeah. It's tough. It's tough. Well, let's talk about it if you're ready. Yeah, I mean there was broken in different contexts, but it just depends on what the circumstances was. But when you have to grow up and go through stuff. Okay. Did you see my video? Did you agree or disagree with what I said about the Mavs and OKC? Did you see it? And did you agree or disagree? Because you heard what I said about Shay. I got a chance to watch that thing and I see what I see. That was my conclusion. He has to basically become Allen Iverson. That's the only way they can win that series. He has to, I always tell you the Jokic got that 24 to 27 and LeBron's got to do 22, 20. He has to score 35, 36. He has to do like Harden and Iverson for them to win. That 29-9-9 ain't going to cut it. That 39-9 ain't going to cut it. He got to go 35, 36 points, 7, 8 rebounds, 7, 8 assists. Iverson, he got to do it. They don't have, they're too light in the cakes. I watched Chad. He's a newbie. He was trying to hack a file. He couldn't keep up. He got winded. He got tired. And all the things with him is that fadeaway and them alley oops. He has no real shot or hook or anything. He don't put no wood on nobody. So he just another body that's out there running. They need a freestyle cherry picker. They might have a great bench, like you said, but they ain't got enough starters. That's their problem. And you made a good call about PJ Washington. He ate their butt up. The Kyrie is the difference maker as a veteran. But if you got Luca doing 22.99 and Kyrie's doing 23 something and you lose, oh, you're done. Especially if you're OKC. He has to score more. They too light in the cakes. They don't have the depth to match that. It's one thing if he scores enough to kind of offset Luka and Kyrie, but when PJ Washington's putting up 27 and he's got his chest out like he's Popeye, oh, you cooked. They cooked in because they don't have the. And it's not cooked like they can't win games. They can't win the series. And as I said in the video, it's like the old Holyfield fights. Nobody cares about that. Wait a minute. Oh, wow. Take that back. Somebody will trade them that pick and trade. They might could get something for that. I take that back. If they know how to be smart, which they don't. But if they play their cards right, they could actually land some pieces in exchange. So let me see how smart they are. Who I mean, that's something I think is going on. Well, see, the problem is there ain't nobody to draft in this draft. That's the sad part. What we gonna get? That's what I was saying. But you got to find a spot that would work. So let me do my GM duties. You want to play GM? This is what I'm about to do. You want to be GM? I'm sending that to either Phoenix, Sacramento, Golden State, Houston, Sacramento, Phoenix, Golden State, Houston. Yeah, because you know what? That's the one way they could get back in the mix with quickness. The old man didn't work with CP3, but maybe the young man with Trey may work. Think about it. Who else can I pick on? Oh, what the heck? I know you were waiting for me to say it. The New Orleans Pelicans. I knew you were thinking New Orleans. There you go. You got to think about teams that's got something to play with, and they might make that deal. Yeah. Especially if you're on that come up, but you ain't came up because Sacramento, New Orleans ain't came up. They stagnant. So I might have to make a move like that. Who else can I pick on? Who else? Oh, here you go again. Nobody wants. See, we going good until you mention that San Antonio thing. They ain't gonna want no tray. Make him into an ice tray. A Pop would either be getting senile or delusional. He would never go for him. Besides, Wimby shoots as good a three as Trey does. That would not be good. But I said Houston. That's the only one out in Texas, I would say. I'll tell you who else I would consider. But they like them old men. But the Clippers, I'd almost be tempted to make that deal. hmm Clippers need to get young, and pun intended. Who else could I pick on? You know, and you know who the elephant in the room is in this? Because I don't know how he gonna come back next year. That's because he got to sell that stadium. That's what that's about. That ain't got because they love him. That's because they got to sell that stadium. I don't know how he's gonna come back next year, but you know who's one of the teams I would strongly would have considered, but I don't know what their situation is gonna be. Memphis, because with Ja, but they got to make some kind of a Ja got to make a statement next year. He got to make a statement. So to me, Memphis, Sacramento, and New Orleans, them three is on the clock because one of them teams is gonna get old, gonna get young old fast. So take your pick: Memphis, Sacramento, or New Orleans. They got to make a splash because they gonna be young old fast. They getting replaced before your eyes by who? OKC and by Minnesota. So one of them three teams is on the clock. So Memphis, New Orleans, and Sacramento. Them three need to make that move. Somebody gonna make that move. But yeah, I know why the Clippers are doing that. They have to. They got to set building to save. Even though dude shouldn't run it back, he should clear house. He's stuck with the old man party, which ain't gonna do nothing except steal money, get fat, and just get lazy. So they gonna do in there with the Clippers. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video about that. He has to because he hasn't always stepped up for Steph, but he has to know Brunson is coming. He has to because they tore their behind up in Golden State. They beat them this year. Now, you asked me, you want the question right? I'm gonna give it to you. Let's since we shoot from the hip on this live stream, let's go at that one. We're not saying that Brunson is a better player than Steph Curry for a career. We're saying right now, I'm taking Jalen Brunson because he impacts winning. I'm sorry, as much as I love Steph, and you know I got Steph top 10 in I hold Steph regard, but Jalen Brunson got a top 4-5 team. Steph Curry playing couldn't even make the end season tournament. So you tell me. Well, yeah, well, yeah. I can't argue that. But Draymond also wants to come across like he's loyal to Steph, even though he's really loyal to Clutch. But he wants to come across like he's loyal. I get what he's doing too. It's a twofold street. I get what he's doing. But, you know, you can, you know, yeah. It'd be one thing if the Warriors had at least got knocked out in the first round. They didn't even make the playoffs. So I don't know why he tripping because they didn't even make the play in. They didn't make the playoffs. So what's he doing? You know. And if you're not, you want this is why people got to understand how deep the West is. Nobody less than 5 seed is remaining. If I'm missing those top four, yeah, because Minnesota, Denver, OKC, down, yeah, top 4, 5, yeah, there you go. So that's how deep the West is now. So yeah, and I can't listen. Brunson did the thing this year. He was in MVP consideration. Come on now, Steph was not. Harvey Your World YouTube channel. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I watched him. I'm sure he had a good blast with him too. I did too. Oh yeah, we love my cousin Vinny. In fact, I'm gonna start calling my cousin Vinny. What's up? That's what I'm gonna start calling my cousin Vinny. Yeah, my cousin Vinny. I'm gonna do that. Thank you. Well, cause it was hilarious. You didn't. You know when I laughed at it too. I told you I was because he showed teeth, and then he got the ultimate boom. That's the what. You know what? Of all the shuffling and buck dancing ones, that one might be in the top two to three. When you just got your when you just got your rolls flipped, when the when the when the grease hit that one may have been the best one. That might be the best one ever. Cause even when Candace Owens and Terry Crews, some of them get busted. They haven't gotten this like that. I mean, he got that stank. You got to sit there and eat crow. Okay, so I talked about it, and I'm done with it. I mean, I've done other videos where I talked about where I got it Shannon Sharp because I took it in a different direction. If you watch my video, I said that if Shannon Sharp was going to talk about people underachieving, why don't he pick on Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers? I took it to a different spin. But yeah, well, I could have talked about that, but you know what? Carmela's a never was. I mean, she ran, but we don't take her seriously. When you walking around like the wheel of fortune, like you're the wheel of culture, and you spin and you be whatever culture you need to for that 5 minutes, we don't take her serious. Yeah, I talked about it. I did where Shannon Sharp didn't address the NFL quarter, like I said with Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers. I had exception with him doing that. I said, I took it in a different direction because if you're gonna pick on somebody who's got 4 rings and the last guy to three-peat and to dominate and change the culture and rules, what about them guys in your profession? What about them guys in your profession? What about them guys that are like everybody knows that Peyton Manning is in the top 2 to 3 greatest regular season quarterback. But what about him in the postseason? 4 Super Bowls and none of them were memorable. The 2 losses were horrible. And the 2 wins were pedestrian for the mighty Peyton Manning. Or the fact that Aaron Rodgers, who they slob and has got 4 all of them MVPs, and got 1 Super Bowl win and 1 appearance. And Brett Favre, who they got all them MVPs, got 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 win for all that hype. So when you start annoying, and then yet they're going to turn around and get mad when you pull Patrick Mahomes' as top 2 to 3 and get all upset. So that's all I'm saying. So hold the standards. Hold the standards. Yeah, well, Drew Barrymore ain't exactly the deepest host, so I'm not going to, but Carmella has, like I said, you want to know about the real Carmella? Look up the old videos with her and Willie Brown, Frisco Mayor. That's about as funky as she ever got. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Belichick had him figured out enough because at first, the early years when Tylone could do the bump and run, that was a different era. And he got lucky in that game in '07, the night when Kobe scored 81. He got lucky in that one because they should have lost to New England. That's why Brady talking about coming back. They scared. They scared. And see, this is great for you to see. At your ripe old age of 36, this is great to see. And I don't know how old you are, Jay Will, but this is great to see. Because I'm gonna tell you something. That shows you how racist the NFL was. This guy done this in the last decade. What happened in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s? What happened? Did I miss something? That's what's up. No, no. I say maybe one more ring and probably 30,000 points. I don't know about no 7. He was 4-2 in the finals, which ain't bad. Wouldn't LeBron James like to be 2 over 500 in the NBA final? Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna say no more about that. But yeah, he led 3 different teams to the finals in a 10-year window. And when you say stuff like that, you're speculating. I say one more ring. I didn't say no 6, 7. Because if that's the case, if Shaq should have had 7, then LeBron should have about 9. So, not saying that LeBron is a better player than Shaq, but he had more opportunities. That's a fact. And Orlando was not an equipped team. They went to one finals. He didn't have the best situation there. In LA, he was there for 8 years and he went to 4 finals. So that's the math equals out. Well, him and D Wade got hurt. And then I don't know how it would have been against the Spurs in the finals. I don't know. I say about 5. I say about one more ring. If he don't get hurt, we don't know. But he got robbed of MVP that year. We don't know. But Shannon Sharpe is saying stuff like he's not even. Let me tell you how. Yep, yep. Plus, they moved Sheed. Sheed was balancing between the center and the guard spot. He was versatile in that game 7 in Miami. I remember. And they were able to defend. Let me see what Shannon Sharpe is trolling. Oh yeah, let me explain why he's trolling. He's saying that league MVP is more important than a guy winning chips and finals MVP. Just let that sink in. Well, he says you should have won 7 awards, but he's saying you didn't get but that league MVP. I'm holding that against you. Let that sink in. Now, how does that factor? Because when you listen to him, yeah, he's saying you only got 1. He said Moses Malone got 3. He said, I said, league MVP is very subjective. Yeah, and remember, Jay Will, he used to have Kobe as the second greatest player. Now let that make sense. Make that make sense to me. Because read what he be saying. And we both know that Shaq and Kobe cancel each other out. If it wasn't for the case, Shaq would have had about 4 or 5 of them. So that's what he listen to his interview. He did that with Ocho Cinco. Said he only got 1 MVP. His criteria was holding more of that against him. I said the guy got 3 straight finals MVPs. He got 4 rings. I said, did you play the game? Herm Edwards said, you play the game to win. You play the game to win. Let me ask you guys this question. Y'all can help me if I'm. Does Steve Nash's 2 league MVPs make him better than Isaiah Thomas? You know, Isaiah Thomas got 2 winning rings, but does his 2 league MVPs make him better than Isaiah Thomas? I just want to know. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me. I hope this video go viral. Make it. Let me understand what Shannon Sharpe's trying to say. Steve Nash got 2 back-to-back league MVPs. Is he better than Isaiah Thomas? Hacker Shack. Thank you. Thank you. Hacker Shack. 6 free 6. You get what? He did diss him because he told him we don't need no coach. That was the coldest. That we ain't even talking about him as a player. That was the coldest diss I ever heard. They ain't even barely signed the ink to get together and said we don't need no coach on this team. And they played like it too. They really did. They did ignore him. That's why he got fired with quickness. Hackashack, 4 centers, 24 fouls. You used to hear that all the time. How is that not dominant? How is that not being top dog? They did everything in the book. You know, he even had an All-Star game where he had to share an All-Star MVP with Tim Duncan. He said, I never get nothing. They didn't. And he was smarter than he got credit for. So, but my point is this. What's his how he come with this rationalization? It's subjective. But is Steve Nash better than John Stockton? Yeah, why was he on his back? Talking about what you underachieved, you didn't do this, you knew that. Um, the last man to three-peat in the finals. Something that his hero, who he sleeps in pajamas, LeBron didn't do, that Kobe didn't do, that Steph Curry didn't do, that Kevin Durant didn't do, that Kawhi Leonard didn't do, Dwayne Wade didn't do, Giannis ain't do, Jokic ain't do. Okay, tell me why I ain't seen nothing. I have to watch the highlights. And I ain't really up to watching those springtime football, but well, he's looking worse than mac and cheese. That's embarrassing, but it can happen. Me too. Look, I like Nash, but again, I would almost think he need to be drug tested because I didn't see that dude when I was watching him in Dallas. I didn't see that dude. He had that herky jerky mop head be moving, but he when he got to Phoenix, he was like a thoroughbred. I was like, who? Well, okay, because that caught me off guard. I didn't see that. And yeah, Gary and Kidd were head and shoulders above him. I never saw Nash like that. I did my video. You saw my Michael Penix video? The Michael Vick, the what I made? I told you. That's what New England gets. They always like them old white boys, and then white boys go there and they're like, What's that one they had? That Baldy, the one that they had that was there with Cam and Mac and Cheese, the one they kept bringing back that was in 2020. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about. He like an old man. Yeah, him. Yeah, that he look like an old man. Old Hoyer. Yeah, Michael Penix is. I told you Penix was gonna be the truth. Yeah, but when you say that, right? Look at how the eras were. Russell back in the 60s, Jordan did in the 90s, and Shaq. That's it. So how can you ever not have this guy in a GOAT discussion? How can you not? Because you play to be dominance and to win. That's dominance and winning. That's why I have a problem with the Shaq hate. Y'all up here acting like all these other guys. Well, so he was, but then I gotta wonder how much of it is Dan Tony because again, James Harden was the MVP in his system. And even though the guy doesn't belong in the same sense with Nash and Harden, Lynn Sanity was in Dan Tony's system in New York, and he was beasting for 6 weeks. Well, you think I'm making this up? Them 6 weeks bought that turkey a 16-year career. So if I'm lying, I'm buying. The year they used them 2 months in New York, and that cat stayed around a long time. Just saying. So, but Yeah. I mean, just common sense says common sense. And you don't dominate like that, and you don't have that kind of lineage, and he did. CP3. Better overall, even though Nash got the MVP, CP3 for me. It's just his postseason suck. But then again, Nash's postseason ain't that memorable either. So there you go. There you go. Because usually if you're the best player on the best team and you MVP, you got to get to a finals. And he didn't do it. CP3 got to a finals. There you go. I played to win the game. Yeah, they do that. They do that. That's what they're doing. That's why they got JJ Redick with that stupid Michael Jordan was watered down and all that sanitation crew was. I mean, they make it up as they go along. That's that mess that he be saying. Because I guess if you play 50, 11 years, you got people saying stupid stuff, which only embarrasses me. And see, the worst thing that happens to LeBron is that there are people who are actually NBA aficionados who are going to go back and start to detest him. And when he's gone from the game, there will be some definitely back. There will definitely be some backlash. He's getting some backlash now while while quiet is kept. I'm taking CP3 though. But I'm not a big fan of his like that. But it's just that he did get his team to the finals and he actually was, he had more leadership. Nash was a more flashier player and he could score a better volume. But I think he underachieved. Because I mean with Amari and D'Antoni system, I don't know why he couldn't seal the deal. Yeah. 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 I believe so too. We'll see. All right. Somebody sent some hearts. So what we going with? Well, I think once they don't have to worry about the stigma. That's not a surprise. That's not a surprise. They playing some defense. That's why. They finally doing what they supposed to do. Um, I think I'll say this. Well, it's a must win for Denver because they lose tonight, they're done. So I think they got to win tonight, and I think they can win. But if Minnesota goes up 3-1, it's a wrap. So Denver, just like the other night, Gordon, Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., they got to all come up and ball. KCP, they got to come up and ball. The blueprint that I give is like I told Ted. Jokic's got to stay in the 24 to 27 range, maybe 28, and triple double. Anything where he scores 30 or if he scores under 20, they're gonna lose. So yeah, he do. They just gotta make sure what they do. The key for them against Minnesota is simple. Make them play you 5-on-5. Don't make them play you 2-on-1. That's how they picked the pockets and got over them. So they gotta make sure that they don't get caught 94 deep. They gotta make them stay honest. If they do that, keep the tempo, Make Rudy Gobert have to move. You got to make a move. You got to make Cat move. You got to work Ant. That's what they got to do. If they do that, they're okay. If they don't, it could be a long night. Pacers, if they can force New York into a half court game, don't let them be cute. Don't let them sit there and make they can win it. You know, that's the key. But I knew Indiana had a blowout game in them. They have to. It's a 7 game series. Who are we kidding? Because these teams are evenly matched. The problem with the Pacers, they just play dumb. They don't pound them inside. That's how you bust them. You can't hit what you can't. If you play what you hit, you can't catch. Then that's even Steven. But if you bruise them up inside, you touch them up. I'd say close to 40. Since you can't put the hands on them, I say pushing 40. 35 without trying. I think 35, 38 without trying. 40 is tops. But then again, he ain't the only one I say that about. You give Larry Bird a healthy situation, he bust you up high too. I mean, yeah, guys can shoot from back in the day and they were great. They could definitely tear it. It depends on who we talking about. Yeah, who you talking about, Bird or Jordan? Which one? Well, because they want a great white hope. That's why. They want the great white hype. That's what that's about. Shannon Sharp started that mess. No, I understand why they want it because they don't have anybody white to get excited about. That's a fact. Um, he would make some. I don't know how he would be though. You know, I don't know how he would be though. He'd make some, but Larry Bird would be scary with it. Bird would be scary with it. Jordan and Bird would be scaring more. Charles Barkley would be scoring more. Karl Malone would be scoring more. Bernard King too. There's a few guys I like to see what they were playing today from back then, how they would look with the style wise. I definitely. Arvidas Sabonis would be scary today. Bob McAdoo would have been too. Dang. Yeah, Indiana's starting to put it on that butt. I like what the Pacers are doing. Their bench is actually leading the way. That's the way to be. That's a smart call. Because they can put more pressure on New York because they can force the issue. That's how they beat them and keep the tempo. Wow. Yeah, that's scary right now. The problem with Tony Kukoc though is he'd still have to have a systematic coach who'd understand him. He'd have to have a team that could allow him to flourish. And what he had going for him is he came for a ready for made team with a ready for made head coach. I don't know how that would fare with him today. Because he went with Iverson and he said Iverson ran him crazy and he didn't really fit. He was mediocre, really, in Chicago. He had some big shots, but he fit in with a good system. I don't know what he would do. Too many things would have to go his way. I don't know. I don't know. I watched him play, you know, and when okay, let me throw this at you. He got to play with Jordan and Pippen and Rodman. No, he was Jordan and Pippen and he'd have to play with the equivalent of Steph. Oh, well, okay. Tell me why he said Shaq the truth. Tell me why he said that. He'd have to play with the different of Steph and Clay today. Could he do that? Could Tony Kukoc come out and play with Steph and Clay and have success today? Because that would be the equivalent. I know you're going to tell me Tatum and Brown who ain't won a thing, and they've had some success, but they ain't won. But you're going to tell me that. I'm telling you the equivalent to Jordan and Pippen for him today would be Steph and Clay. But could he handle that? And actually, sight on scene, he should be able to. But could he? Could Kukoc be effective with Draymond Green? Now, if Tatum and Bell wins a ring, then we can take Kukoc over there. But which side would fare him better? He said the same thing I said. Well, I said he had to be like Iverson. I ain't saying about winning no chip. He ain't winning no chip. That's why I disagree with Shaq on that. They ain't winning no chip. But Chet has to average. But Chet's still lighting the cakes. He's still a work in progress. They ain't winning no chip. They called him James Worthy. They ain't, first of all, they did lose game two. Second of all, they ain't really playing nobody. Third of all, they better win their next game, or it could be a problem. And fourth of all, Tatum and Brown law firm has only been to one final since they've been together. So one of these days, you'll actually make that count. They're very inconsistent. And I do think that if Udoka was their coach, I agree. I like Missoula's a real good coach, but I just don't. Yeah, well, you can say that. That's a North Carolina thing, too, in case you didn't know. That's what that's about. I like Worthy, but Worthy ain't no top five. I like Worthy a lot. He got a closer argument if you said top five Laker, which he ain't, then you got all time player. I like Worthy a lot, but I'm not gonna say nothing crazy. Worthy was a bad boy, but no. Some people thought that if oh god, from Portland, Jerome Kersey. Someone said Jerome Kersey could have done what Worthy did. Some say that. I can't because Perkins became a set shooting outside player. He was a different animal in the NBA. And when he's with the Lakers, he was pretty good. He was thinner at the time. He went to Seattle. He was big, smooth, and he became a set shooter. Actually, he would have fit good today's game. He was actually 30 years ahead of his time, style wise. Top five all time: Magic, Kareem, Shaq, Kobe, and Jerry West. Yep. He was a he when he was with Seattle, he shot that long ball and he did all that. But he became like a standstill dude. He wasn't the dude that different player in college. He got bigger, different player, different outlook. When he's in Seattle, you know, with the Lakers, he did. Jerry West was great. Well, okay, the logo, but let me put it to you like this: even better than that, he's the only player to win the NBA Finals on a team that lost. That should put Jerry West in perspective. There you go. Jerry West was a bad boy. And like him and Oscar Robinson would have been real interesting if they came along today. He has some handles. He could shoot. I think his leadership on the court, he really had direction. And he had handles too. Yeah, he's top five Laker for me. Hmm. Or Steph Curry. He played well. Aside for that, the only thing against LeBron was that game four. That's where he fell off. He stunk game four. And he'll give you a stinker in the finals. That's why they lost their finals. And when they flipped Iggy on him and brought David Lee off the bench, that changed the series. That was a turning point. And they made adjustments and they won. What is this? Yeah, I mean, more so. He had a great run in LA. He'd be in my top 10 Laker, but he had a great Sixer run. I mean, it's just that Jerry West's legacy in LA as both player and GM, but as a player, he was great. His his stats, they don't lie. I mean, I could do an honorary to George Mike and Minneapolis Lakers. I could. I could. Could actually say Elgin Baylor too. So there you go. Hmm. Dang. I'm impressed with the Pacers. You heard about the latest with Elvira, right? Because I think um Too Raw did that. She's claiming that Wilt snatched it. Ooh, you called it about this 30-point lead. Ooh, brutal. Oh, that's stupid. Now they're trying to give him a ticky tack call. What's happening? What's happening? It is a blowout. Let me get to that. So yeah, that's they did. He did. Wilt was on everything that moved. Okay, Jay Will, peak Shaq versus peak Kareem. How do you think that plays out? Okay. Depends on who's the coach. Depends on the old Italian boys too. Depends on the coach. Depends on the structural. Depends on who's their point guards. If I or if you just want me to go by they peak and prime, we're not. We're just gonna go by the rawness of them. That's what you're talking about, Jay Will. If I'm going by the rawness of Shaq and Kareem, the rawness, I'm taking Shaq. Good to see you, time. I'm taking Shaq. Well, I know one thing, the Knicks are in trouble. You can't be giving up these 34, 35s. That's ooh. Oh, ooh. That's so let me see something. Jalen got 10. Everybody else stinking it up. Tyree Pascal. See, and this is what I was talking about, Ted, what the Pacers are doing. They doing what Tobias Harris didn't do, what Kelly Oubre didn't do. If you put up a tenner, you win that series. That's what the Pacers are doing. I like hearing that piano too. Darn, oh yeah. Well, they ain't playing no piano tonight. The piano player got fired. Oh, this is ooh. I wonder what Stephen A. is thinking right now. He probably got a long face. He knew they were gonna lose tonight. He ain't think they gonna get hammered. What they done is they got the bench. They're getting everybody involved, the others. Because the Pacers don't have a real, even though Tyler, I know Tyler is the leader, but he don't really stand out. But when you got everybody involved, oh, it can be a bloodbath. And Halliburton, all he got to do is give out. He got 13 right now. Give about 10 more. Okay, sure was. It'd be like one of them 44-41 game. Stephen A. got it coming to him. First of all, anybody who sits up there and think the Knicks are a championship team is delusional. Well, you ain't gonna see that no time soon. What they're doing is manipulating some of that with bigs that can shoot and all that, but they're not going back to that style. It's too analytic now. I wouldn't compare them to the Cowboys. The Cowboys have had success. If Jalen Brunson doesn't come to New York, they could be a first round casualty, if not a play in casualty. At least Dallas is certified with a good regular season record. They stink it up in the playoffs, but at least they have legitimate in the regular season. You know, they do be eating up on tomato cans. The Knicks, without Jalen Brunson, they weren't considered much of anything. Yeah, but you ain't even got any bullies no more. You ain't got nothing. That's a good question. I got to go with Pippen because I like Kawhi better as an all around player. And Kawhi was a strong defender, but Pippen could guard your one, your two, your three, your four. He was that good. But Kawhi all around player was better. So it depends on what your argument is. If you ask me who's the better all around player, it's Kawhi and twice on Wednesday in his peak. Because he could score what Scotty did and put up more. And he had defense. But Pippen just on the defense, I'm taking Pip. Because Pip was huge in some series. I remember. They did that on purpose. I remember that game one. And I don't blame them because they was losing by 21 because I was at the um took my lady out to we was at Olive Garden and it looked like it was just brutal. And then when they Tanya Hardin him, that's what I call it when you get hit in your leg. He got Tanya Hardin. Jaja did a Tanya Hardin. They Tanya Hardin Kawhi, and then that 21-point lead evaporated. Yeah, he should consider retiring. He's done. Um, Not a lot, but it was mainly when they lost to the Pistons and when they lost to the Celtics in the finals. That's the only time he ever looked out of sorts. Was in LA. It ain't about being longer. I'm not gonna say that. Scotty could actually handle the rock. Actually, being longer, he pressed his body well. He was able to defend. He was picking up big guys. Okay, well, okay, so if that's the case, explain Magic Johnson. He got on Magic backcourt. And you can go ahead and use that against Mark Jackson. You can't use it against he was a great passer. You can't use argument against Magic. As a leader, I would. I'll give you that as a leader. But anyway, Ted, only time with Phil was when they in those finals. He got out coached by Larry Brown, and then he got out coached by Doc with Boston that first time. They were too physical. Garnett and them was just banging them. That's the only time. He really didn't do too bad. Um, if he stayed in Golden State, yes. Anything short of Golden State, no. 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 But if he stays in Golden State, yeah. I mean, I could do a video about that, but only if he stayed in Golden State. No. When they moved, it was Jordan and Magic for Pippen started to guard him 94 feet. That's what turned it around. What happened to the Lakers in that finals? They got injuries, and that helped out the whole. But the Bulls had a better bench. Paxson hit big shots. Jordan was playing like Jordan, and they were able to, you know, those games were pretty close though. But they had a couple runs in those games which changed the fate. That's what it was. That's the only time I'd ever put him in the sentence good. I didn't think he was that memorable as a coach, but he was okay there. They were actually an overachieving team because they shouldn't have beaten the 91 Blazers. I still don't know how they beat the 91 Blazers in that playoff game, that final East Western Conference. I still don't know. That's still a mystery to me. He was all right. I remember when he was a player. And then his son played for a minute, looked just like him. Nobody cooked Scottie Pippen until he got to his Houston era. When he got old, that's when he got cooked. Yep. But no one was cooking him. If he doesn't get hurt, top 5 centers, and probably in the 14 to 22 range, all time great, because he was great in college. He was an incredible college player, and his Portland days was starting off great. And he was the only dude that I saw who made Kareem look homogenous, look regular. Yeah, they were bad. Dr. Jack Ramsey, Maurice Lucas, looked like Doobie Brothers. They were physical. Only if he had have stayed healthy. Because he had the upside. He was athletic. Oh, if you no, you're at you no. If he doesn't get hurt, yeah. But Moses got him beat, of course. But no, if he doesn't get hurt, yeah, Walton was a bad white boy. Look it up. And one of the greatest college basketball players I've ever seen. And the thing is, you talk about top 7, 8 greatest college player. NBA, he doesn't get hurt, stays consistent. The way he came out the gates and dominated. Yeah. He was that good. So yeah. He's one of those guys. There are a few guys I say that about. Hmm. Andrew Toney was one of those guys for Philly. If he don't get hurt, the Boston Strangler, injuries did some guys in. Just like Larry Bird's back. If that back don't give out, Well, that can be. But he was more of a role player in New York, that is. In Toronto, he was good. He played a long time. That's subjective. I mean, you're going to hear people say 84, 85, 96, 03. I mean, it's subjective. 84, 85, 96, 03. That's the ones that come off the mind. All depends on what you want. Yeah. That's when it counted, not this mess with Rudy Gobert, but y'all was considering doing a video. That's a different era. I don't look at Rudy Gobert as a beast. Yeah, it all depends on what era you're looking. That's what they call it. He stepped on Kobe's toe, but Kobe didn't diss him, though. Kobe never dissed him. Bruce Bowen always cracked me up too. Didn't he look like an extra Nation of Islam, like he was NOI fruit? He he had the bow tie and he would talk all yes and you know, like he working for the nation. Like I see him with a bean pie on the corner. Bruce Bowen. I wanted to call him Bruce Agbar, you know. Bowen Muhammad, I wanted to call him that because he looked like that. And he had that standstill three. He knocked that down too. He give you them 9, 12 points. Yep. He was nice and delight and pleasant, you know, like he was gonna start singing a Freddie Jackson song on TV, just all pleasant and friendly. And it's like we didn't forgot that you be stepping all on people's toes and doing all that, but just all nice and courtesy and crack me up. I mean, we didn't make it as a defensive specialist. You've been a great used car salesman down at Keyshawn and Keys car dealership. That guy had me laughing. He looked all, you know, it's a crack up off of Bruce Bowen. Yeah, he sure did. He was good though. No, 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 don't say that. Please don't insult him. He, what would make you say that? You got to explain that. JJ Redick and Bruce Bowen don't belong in the same sentence. Bowen never got no hookup by no thing. Kobe respected him. He could shoot, and Kobe respected him, but he didn't shuffle. And he could actually play defense. What did JJ Redick do that was so great? You gonna tell me his little 3-point shots, which did help out, but it didn't benefit no real team or stat pad. What did he do that was so great? At least with Bruce Bowen, I could say, okay, he second tier player. I could say in the second half tier range. JJ Redick was 3.5 tier in an era where he does it every day. That's why he got a job. I just don't know who's putting money behind him though. That's all I want to know. Somebody got some money behind him. There's more than just LeBron behind him. There's somebody else behind him. Well, Duncan was to pop like Brady was to Belichick, except the difference was Duncan kept it low key. and he was loyal. You know, Duncan Duncan checked all the boxes. You know, he was a chemist. Thank you. Nobody care about the Pistons. They should go out the league. That's what they should do. I mean, they got a garbage squad. They suck. That's one of the most embarrassing things I ever seen. You losing 30 games in a row. So yeah. But no, I gotta defend Bruce Bowen. I mean, he could actually play some defense. He actually had a little something. He had a little something going where he could play defense. He was real good and he had a little shot. What JJ Redick? I don't remember nothing. I don't remember nothing. I remember that like yesterday. You know, as a Heat fan, I remember. I remember when LeBron did that dunk on Jet too. But I think it kind of wore them out in the finals. I do. But one thing about Detroit, they always stink it up for about 5, 10 years, and then when they get good, they get good. Then they get that ugly team that takes on 3 or 4 years. So they do for some ugly type players to come along and do some damage. It'll come. I didn't want them to break the record. And Andre Drummond is one of the most delusional players I ever heard. Because when he got picked by the Lakers, when he got that deal, they said Kareem Abdul-Drummond, and he's delusional too. They were great at 90. They lost the Eastern Conference Finals in 92. They lost the Knicks 92, 91. And then they started once Isaiah left and all that. Well, that was inevitable. That was inevitable. But every about another, excuse me, about another 5 years, they'll be good. It always happens mysteriously with them. They stink for a long time, and then all of a sudden they get some pieces, and you're not paying attention, and they get good, and they pick up a couple picks. I don't think they'll let them stink for like 20 more years, but they do that in the NBA. They hate Detroit. Barring some miracle, if I was the Knicks, I would go ahead and book my plane out. You ain't coming back from 30. That's a bad game for them. It's a bad game. Well, Jerry Stackhouse called him out because he said he didn't fit. He thought he was too soft and too pretty. No diddy. No diddy. But I'm just telling you what he pretty much said. Stack sure ran his mouth a lot, but it was true. Doug Collins, they wanted to put him on the Burger King cups, and they were really hyped. And he was putting up numbers and he played, but it just wasn't happening there. Well, they had a nice young team, and Mike Brown done a really good job. It's just that they don't play no defense. They don't play no defense. And then that was their problem. I don't think that it was a bad thing because they did, De'Aaron Fox, because the way they lost to Golden State. And Sabonis has been a revelation, double doubles, and he can ball. So how was it bad? But the problem with them is that you don't play no defense. You're a one trick pony. Then we have injuries, and you only win by 44 or 5 games. What am I supposed to do with that? You're just an average team. So you stat pad with the best of them, but you don't do nothing. So How come the Knicks don't go ahead and wave the white towel and get the plane ride? He really disappointed you this year? Well, it is hard to repeat as a champion. Booker ain't been the same to me since the 2021 finals. And, to be a leader or to be a sidekick is two different entities. So he was in awe of Durant, but he didn't really have any upside. So that's the problem. He was talking about him being a point guard, but he didn't really want to play point. Because they got to have a leader and someone to put those guys in their place. That's the problem. Like I said, that's their fundamental problem. Sheed is right because everybody comes for you the next year. Everybody's got a target on you, and they're trying to take you out. And of course, with free agency, you don't keep the team together, you lose a piece, you got to regroup. So it is tough to come back the next year. Very few can do it. That's why the NBA is pretty hard to repeat. It is pretty hard to repeat. That's true. The wear and tear on your body, and also the economics of the game, the way they, it's a lot of things that changed. you know. So it's tough. It is tough. That's why when I hear Shannon Sharp or anybody going on a Shaq, and I said, look, if Shaq ain't in your top five, you're a crackhead to me. Because he did the thing. Oh yeah. Easily. Because game five, when he played that one game, they didn't have no answer for him. And you gotta remember, he missed like 3 or 4 games. He hadn't played, and he came out, and it was like, no offense to Kawhi, but it was almost like grown men against boys or college. Yeah, they had well, baseball. So baseball is even tougher than the NBA because baseball, you not only do you have to stay healthy and all things have to go your way, but you have to have the right pitchers, you have to have the right hitters, you have to have, a lot of things have to go your way in baseball. Baseball is tougher. Well, there was probably years where if you had the best team, best balance, you'd win. Whereas in baseball, it started to change. But yeah, it's tough in baseball. It's got to be the tougher one because with health and the way they get free agencies and stuff like that, baseball's a tough nut. So baseball's a tough sport to crack because you gotta like so many things have to go your way. And look at the Astros this year; they're in last place. They were the best team, arguably in baseball, the last decade. When you think about when you add all the things, they won a couple rings with two different managers, and they were dominant. They're the most dominant team last decade, and now they're in last place. Could be over for them for a year or two. So that's the reality of how things go, you know. And the game has gotten younger, and so it's a lot of. So Derek Jeter was not overrated, and you can make a strong case for Pedro. Best pitcher I saw in my lifetime was probably Roger Clemens. If I'm going by the last 30, 40 years. Yeah, Jeter was a winner. I know playing with the Yankees gave him an added on, and some people might, but he came up big. He was magical. I have much respect for Pedro, and he was tough. It's just that Clemens for me endured longer. That's all. That was the thing. I was highly impressed with the fact that from the Boston era to Toronto, the Yankee era, and the Houston era, the guy was still top dog. He was just, but Pedro was something else though. So, but you can't go wrong. Ooh, the Pacers are putting it on him. No, he didn't bop his head. He just put them softballs in the basket for the ladies. That's all. He didn't bop his head though. I think we got a series now. I don't know how the Knicks come back from this. This is a thumping. They can't thump Indiana like Indiana can thump them. Keep that in mind. They can't thump them like that. And just think, if the Pacers had won one of those games in New York, this series could be over right now. Well, OJ's the one I think of with that bop in your head crap. He's going like Carlton Banks. That's what they do when they get all so. Have you ever seen this movie called Strictly Business? Halle Berry was in it, Tommy Davidson, Samuel Jackson, and the black actor, I can't think his name. His character was Winthorpe. That's what his name was in there. Anyway, if you get a chance, you remember his head was bopping in that movie. That was one of my movies. I used to crack up. He was a cornball brother, sell out until he punched that white boy, and the brother said, "I didn't think he had it in him." But when he was bopping his head. Yup, that's that OJ bop. Dang, Brunson is tired tonight. He missing free throws. Boy, Pascal. What happened to Josh Hart tonight? Ooh, Da Vinci. What happened? See, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, because they're worn out. Remember, they're worn out. That's that day and that's what Tibbs don't get. You run these guys ragged. Mark my word, the longer a series goes, it's the worse for them. Well, I remember when Millwood got that. Yeah, he bad, but he tired tonight though. Well, still, I don't know. Do you go see it a home run or a no hitter? Because that's both special. Those two things don't usually happen. I remember when watching Bonds hitting a home run was like watching Tiger Woods on the green back then. It was crazy. The Knicks may not recover from this game. This is not a good look. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Can't say I'm surprised though, because I said that Indiana had a blowout in them because of the calls. I said they had one more game. So that game five gonna be crazy in New York. See if Spike gonna come out with the mini pearl glasses on. Oh yeah, Bonds made people watch, yo. He made you look. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah. That ball never did come down. And I remember that one in New York. That was upper decker shot. Yeah, that ball never came down. And how they lost that World Series, I still don't know how they lost it with the relief pitchers because they had a 6-0 lead. Like, how did you lose that game? It's almost like Bud Selig said, "We need y'all to win. I don't care what you do." Because if Bonds wins the World Series, and you almost think the fix was in, but he was incredible that series. I mean, he was incredible. Yep. I remember that Yankee win in Yankee Stadium. Fans boo, and then when he hits that ball, they like go crazy. He had that kind of aura. Oh yeah, he was like I said, it was incredible. I remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. And they never went. They never won another World Series again. They Mike Scioscia got his one and only. I remember that was a moonshot. I think they would be, but I think the problem is let me say this real quick about those two. Reggie was a one trick pony, but he could be big for Indiana right now. I'm gonna tell you right now, Reggie Miller played for the Pacers right now. This series is over because he's a better pure scorer than Tyler, but he would score. I just don't know how good he would be in terms of other things. So it all depends. But being a 3-point shooter, he'd be a problem. Ray was a better all around player than Reggie, gave you more. But the problem with Ray Allen was this: he great, and you can make a case top 75 with Reggie, but Steph have another layer to him, a level that even Ray deferred more as time went on. So he became like third wheel, in different situations, and while he was still relatively young. Could play, but I'm just saying. And Steph, I don't know if they get to Steph's level, but they would be deadly though. Because I would say this: Reggie might be like a Donovan Mitchell situation today, and Ray would probably be like it might be like a De'Aaron Fox. He was a problem. I remember. I lived there, but I don't know if he would have. When he went to Milwaukee and then he went to Boston and Miami, he became like a side piece. And that's where a lot of his greatness gets lost because yeah, he was great early. However, the team didn't win. And so guy gets held to a certain standard. So it's like, okay, well, you're not Kobe and you're not Dwayne Wade. So where are you? But you can play though. But a lot of it's because he didn't have a balance. So he was bad. And I'm not saying otherwise. I'm a big Ray Allen fan. You can't be a Miami Heat fan and not love Ray. Let's just keep it 100. So, okay. Well, Kawhi was on there for 1 year. Remember, he got traded to Saudi Arabia, and that was a joke because he's an LA boy and he didn't want to. That was different. Let me address all those while you're at it. Bosch wasn't able to win, so Bosch's situation wasn't going to really be prosperous. He was going to be a stat guy. It was kind of be like what happened with Vince. They didn't put nothing around him. When Damon Stoudemire was there with Vince, they had something, but they got moved. So whenever they would get something, they moved it. That was the problem. They didn't stay there long enough. That's kind of what happened with the Rosen and Lowry. You remember until Kawhi came there and they made that deal. So again, timing and people and places, they having the right piece. T Mac was a puppy, so his almost doesn't count because he didn't really formulate until he got to Orlando. So again, those are different circumstances. But I think the brothers get homesick and they didn't have enough parts. They were on the way up, but they didn't have enough parts. So these guys missed out on each other, and it takes time. You got to have teams together 6, 7 years to be cohesive. And most of these cats had a few years, and it was it. So that's the only thing I can say about it. That's when Isaiah Thomas was there, and they drafted good. Just didn't get the pieces. That's all. Oof. This onslaught's embarrassing. Brunson just stat pad now. That look bad. Okay. Everybody got quiet now. Y'all must be watching the game. And they must got a sorry state of affair going to be watching that game. Giannis ahead. Well, I think once he gets 20 plus thousand points, I'll put him ahead of Barkley and Malone. I mean, you could make a strong case now. The Dirk thing, he needs another MVP or needs another finals appearance. Then I would say that. Can't quite say that over Dirk. Can make a case with Barkley and Carl because he's a made man right now. And one thing about Giannis, I can say another 3 or 4 years, he will be productive. However, if he keeps running these coaches out and they don't do nothing, even with his success, I don't know if I put him over. So right now he's got an edge. It's close. It's something that I can say over Barkley and Carl, but it's close. But the Dirk thing, I need another something to come out. And it pains me too in some ways because his year's been horrible in terms not as his stats, but what they didn't do. It doesn't hurt him. It doesn't hurt him. The only thing that hurts Dirk is he got the two finals. He won one, lost one. And I think if he had gone to one more finals, win or lose, I think that would have helped his case more. That's the only thing. He only went to two finals. But he did everything you'd want to do in a career. I mean, he's got 30 plus thousand points. He's league MVP, finals MVP. I mean, it's just it depends on what your criteria is though. But I'm not using defense against him. Boy, the Knicks stink bad. They gave up 30 points in all 3 quarters so far. I remember that game because Baron Davis put a butt on him. He literally put his butt in Dirk's hip, and that threw him off game one. That was a bold move right there. They still thought Dirk was soft, and they were crying. There wasn't no respect. But that changed, though. And after they beat Miami, they got physical with them. That's all. What they were able to do is pick and pop them. Get at them early, make them have to play physical, take him out of his sweet spot. That's what happened. Boy, the Knicks, I tell you, I didn't see this blowout coming. It's almost a 40-point game. I didn't see that coming. Dang. Nesmith almost got 10. See, they're stat padding nicely. They doing it what you're supposed to do. And they making the Knicks look tired and soft. It's a bad look for the Knicks. 24 off the bench. 36 to 27. 36 to 24. 12-point difference. And there's only two Knicks scoring off the bench. That's embarrassing. That's the difference in the game. Really. That 12 points off the bench because that ignited them. And then they didn't have to Well, it's not brutal, but when you gave up 101, that's that's a forehead slap. But they're not that good. And see, this is why I'm mad with Philly. That's why you got to get rid of Tobias Harris and Over and all them guys. You could have won that series. If you get 10 points, you win that series. I tell Ted all the time. I said, Indiana, if they play smart, they get physical with them. That's the key. Get those others involved, make it an up and down game, score. The worst mistake that you can do against a team like New York is to play pity pat out on the perimeter. They put you to sleep like that. You got to make them pay. So, but that's just me though. Yeah. But anyway, best of what? I don't know what he's the best of. What? What? Well, that's his choice. I'm gonna be outnumbered on that. I don't care. Not my favorite. Not my favorite. Magic, magic all day, all night, and twice next Saturday before you even ask. Because if LeBron James couldn't score 10 points a game, he would lose all his hair. And you can't compare a guy who has to score like that and stat pad and flex and all that to a guy who could beat you with just scoring 2 points. It's no comparison. I'll take that all day and twice next Saturday. I seen them both play. LeBron has to have everything and overdo it. Big difference. Big difference. Except he didn't dominate like them. He ain't roll that into one. And they didn't have to have stacked teams. He didn't roll that into one. See, those three are different because those three could carve their own lane. There's a difference. And they were humble enough to defer too. That's the other difference. Makes no difference. It makes no difference. You play with what you got. Allen Iverson went to the finals with Pookie Snow. Dikembe was 48. Ty McCullum. Aaron McKee and Tyrone Hill. Do you remember the Sixers? And a very young oh God, Roger Bell. So come on now, miss me with that. I'm not trying to hear all that. You supposed to be the best player in the world. Boy, don't make excuses. Make results. You forgot to conveniently mention that they traded half their team away in the midseason for him, and then he got another team. I know. But I'm saying to you to say is that Iverson didn't have a stacked team or didn't even have that. So I'm not trying to, you know, that's the difference. That wasn't going to make no difference. Theo from the Cosby Show got hurt too because he was watching it past his bed till around that time. That wasn't going to make no difference. Okay, that's where you are, Bella's video. Wow. Okay. Where you coming from, Bill's video? He wasn't a difference maker. I'm gonna close in about 3 minutes too. I got 3 more minutes before I gotta give it a roll. This game is brutal though. I mean, like if I'm the Knicks, I'm like, why did you even? You should go ahead and got that Jedi out of there. They just scoring with anybody now. Very impressive though. Yeah, if you're the Knicks, not a good night. Long flight back to New York. You got served tonight. It's a never was game. The key is that the others got off tonight. That's the key. Okay. I'm taking the 87 Lakers as number one. Hmm. 96 Bulls is number two, one Lakers, and then I got the 2017 Warriors. So I'm gonna put 87 Lakers first. I just don't think nobody would have beat that 80s Lakers team. Not of that. Not at full tilt, not what they ran with. But that Bulls team would have been interesting though. With Rodman. Because he's the common denominator in his styling. So that's all. All right, Bill's videos, where you coming from? No, 87 Lakers with Magic and it would look great. That team was great. What's up? That team was great. The only reason why is because I thought they'd take a full team. And that was the last of the full teams. I didn't think that Bulls team was a full team. I think the Lakers would have figured them out. That's all. But Rodman was a difference maker, but I got to give it to Lakers on that one. You know. But the others after that, I go in that order. Because the Lakers didn't have enough depth in 2001. You know, Shaq was on another level and Kobe was coming. But I don't know. I think the old Lakers was probably, but that I know where you're going with that 1 year run where they only lost one playoff game. 87 Lakers. If Steph is healthy in the finals, that's a different ball game. He wasn't healthy, and if Draymond doesn't get kicked out, because I think he was playing his best ball. He been on a milk carton there pretty much since 2019, but I give him that though. Regular season is hard to argue against that Warriors team because they were more impressive than the Bulls to me. The regular season, they won one less, they lost one less game. They were special. That first 40 games, that Golden State team was kicking much booty. Like Luke Walton, like he had the coolest job in the world. They were special that year. So, regular season, them and the Bulls regular seasons were the top two that I seen. Uh, either in my he's either 10 or 11 all time. Depends on me. And I'm a firm believer that the longer he plays, it starts to hurt his legacy a bit because aside from piling up numbers, it's not making the team better and it's not making his situation better. So I think he'd be better off doing a dip. I think he hurts his case because he isn't helping his team. And then when I look at Anthony Davis, that puts it in perspective. But that's just me. Steph's in my top 10. On the lower case, though, like ninth. I got him top 10. You got him. He changed the course of basketball. And his body of work speaks for itself. 4-2 in the finals. You know, he's done everything. Only thing he got to do now is get to 25,000, 30,000 points, and then that'll validate the top 10 ranking for him with 25,000 points at least. Because then he's in one of the higher echelons of all time scorers, and his 3-point record won't be broke. And he's got a postseason numbers are great too. So you add all those totalities, you know, regardless if he wins another ring or not, his stats and everything will justify him. And the fact that he won 2 rings without Kevin Durant. So that's what he's looking at. So history will be nice to him. I thought when LeBron, well, I was a Miami Heat fan. I'm a Miami Heat fan. I liked him when he was in Miami, and I liked it first year in Cleveland. But I just think that you know, Kobe's gonna go. I got Steph over him. Well, I could either take Kobe or LeBron out for Steph. I'll take LeBron out. But Kobe, when you put the body of work, again, it's close because I mean, yeah, Kobe's got more numbers, but impact, Curry, Curry's impact is big, yo. Yeah. Well, it's either out of Kobe or LeBron that one of them would have to go for Curry. He got the same rings as LeBron, one less than Kobe, and unanimous MVP. He's got one more MVP if you use that. What you mean early demise? By him dying? No, I think LeBron's situation is hurt because he's played too long. He hasn't really been memorable in LA. If I'm honest with you, if I stopped him at 2017, 2018, no, Kobe's dying. Death didn't do anything. I think people romanticize him more in death than they do when he's living. He was a marker. He was a great talent, great player, but I never had him in my top five or nothing like that. He wasn't better than Shaq. And see, that's what cancels each other out with so much. Wouldn't have him over Kareem, wouldn't have him over Magic, wouldn't have him over Bird, wouldn't have him over Tim Duncan or Jordan. Great talent and a great player, but he had some postseason games and moments where he had some bum moments. And if you don't know what I mean by bum moments, he had the moments when he felt like turning on, he turned on. When he didn't, he didn't. And he pouted and he mouted. Can't get over that blowing that Phoenix 3-game-to-1 lead. Can't. Yeah, it is romanticized because people act like they got amnesia about how he did against Phoenix, what his life was like without Shaq for the first couple of years. First round casualty, ran coaches out and was crying. And until they got Paul Gasol, they tried the Jordan and Pippen thing with him and Lamar on the perimeter. And that didn't work. Had to get Paul Gasol. That's how he won. He had to have a big. He tried it without the Gasol. And he tried to bring it in with Dwight Howard. So now I have to deduct. I deduct when we talking money time. I'm not talking about how his last 4 years ended. I'm talking about, you know. So yeah, they are romanticizing him, but he was great. I mean, there's no doubt. Yeah, because for a guy that has the kind of moves he's got, he should have been on a better quality team. And for a guy for all that, he deserved more than what he got. So, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Because you can't imagine Jamal as a role player with those handles. But that's what they talk about. I'm going to get ready to go. It's about my time. I've been here 2 hours. Appreciate everybody that came through. Some great questions, some great commentary. The trolls made me laugh tonight. There was some funny folks that came through. I appreciate everybody's support. If you celebrate Mother's Day, the best to your moms. If you do, if you don't, whoever, female that was important in your life, be your wife, cousin, girlfriend, that's a parent, a godmother, aunts. If you do, just saying. So if you don't, it's understandable. Appreciate you all. God willing, I'm back tomorrow night, 24 hours. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay warm, stay up. Appreciate you. And I will have commentary about these games. This mess in Indiana. And I think the Knicks, this is when you just burn the tapes and you act like you never saw it. Because that is embarrassing. They got clocked and rocked. Well, Spike Lee gonna have them granny glasses on, look like grandmama. I don't know. They got rocked. Stephen A might have to call out sick tomorrow. All right, I catch up. Peace.